Tisha Lewis, and this is The Good Word. We love that you're watching. For those watching us for the first time, welcome. And for the Good Word family returning, welcome back to your dose of faith, inspiration, and The Good Word. Cardiologist Dr. Schneider is joining us on The Good Word, doing the work across the country, saving lives of young people, young children, many who would otherwise go without the medical care that you provide, often at no cost. Thank you for being here.
Oh, overseas, always at no cost.
Always at
negative
no cost.
I'm the most cost-effective cardiologist because I have a negative salary. Meaning I pitch in when they need stuff also.
Which is incredible. So you are a cardiologist. Tell us what led you to help people across the world, especially young people.
Yeah. You know, people wonder whether doctors still have like a spirit of trying to heal, to help. Which we'd like to think motivated us to become doctors, and we do. It's deeper inside of some people than other people, but when I pick things to do, I pick things that bring that out. And so one of the things that I always wanted to do was to volunteer overseas, and medical education is it's like a torrential river. It just keeps pushing you along, and it's really hard to find time, and a lot of programs don't have this built into them as they should. But I just always thought I want to go overseas and I want to work in a faraway country where they don't have enough cardiologists and really share my skills over there. And years go by, and we had some children, my wife Judy and I. She's a very patient woman, always has been. And my oldest is a doctor now. And that's a long story in and of itself, but she and I planned on going overseas and volunteering together, which I've got to say there's almost nothing better in the entire world than that. It's volunteering with the child that you share a profession with, and watching her perform as a doctor, practice as a doctor was amazing. And she had it all planned. She knew where we were going, she knew where we were going to stay, what we were going to do, and all I had to do was just nod my head, which I'm very good at doing.
Smile and nod.
Yeah, I'm very good. That's, 50 years of marriage have taught me how to do that. Just say, yes, of course. And we went to Tanzania, and I hadn't known what Tanzania was. I didn't know anything. I had to look on a map to see where it is. It's not a country that's often in the limelight, but it's desperately in need of doctors and resources, and the people are wonderful. And it's a quite beautiful country. That's where the Serengeti is, and that's where Mount Kilimanjaro is, and people of many different sorts and cultures have collected there, and they're desperately in need of doctors.
You take yearly trips to Africa. What's the biggest challenge and hurdle that you've seen while abroad?
Is how to do something meaningful in the 3 weeks that I have there. And it took a long time to figure that out. At first, I want, for my personal happiness, is to really feel that I was contributing something and learn about what disease is like overseas, and boy, is it different there, and medicines are different, and trying to figure out what makes people want to get well when they're sick, and what being sick means and how it affects their lives very different in Africa. And so learning that took a couple of years of just watching and thinking maybe I knew things that I didn't really know, and learning how to use the medicines they have and talk to people through interpreters and understand what they were saying. You know, I was showing you a cloth before, and I will have visits from Maasai women. Maasai are the dominant traditional culture in Tanzania. You see pictures of them in their bright clothes, and the women carry their children around, and it's a second thought. And so they'll come in with a medical problem, and you'll see them for a half an hour, and you'll be talking and getting a history about this and that, and then you'll say, okay, I'm going to examine you now, and then you realize there's a child wrapped up in the swathing.
Wow.
He's just sleeping there, and so getting used to the changes that happen.
That's a part of the culture, though.
It's what?
It's a part of the culture.
Yeah, it's a part of the culture. And the idea being that they get very sick over there. If we wonder over here about, well, what would happen if we didn't treat an illness like rheumatic fever? What would happen over the years? Rheumatic fever, by the way, which is central to what I do now, is an allergic reaction to strep infection. Simple strep, sore throat, treated with antibiotics, goes away pretty rapidly, will go away anyway. But if it's not treated, every so often it creates an allergic reaction that affects the heart and the joints and the skin. and causes damage. And the more often it happens, and it happens very often in places where people live close together, don't see doctors, and pass bugs around, it causes eventually irreversible damage.
Not only do you provide medical services to many of the populations abroad, but you also train the clinic workers there.
Yeah.
That has to be rewarding for them, but also rewarding for you. How would you describe the feeling?
They are so enthusiastic, it's unbelievable. And actually, fate takes us to unusual places. The first place that I ended up was well-equipped, had American doctors running it, and other doctors from all over the world that came and volunteered. And that was where I learned about the diseases that they have there. And I see kids with damaged hearts at very young ages, like 18, 19, with the heart of an 80-year-old. And I realized that this is something we don't see that often in the United States. And could it be rheumatic heart disease? And yes, it was. And this was damaging and killing many, many youth over there. So that was where I learned about what it was. But in order to really be where I needed to be to treat it, I had to move to another community where the doctors had nothing. They had a rundown place they called a hospital. They didn't have equipment. They didn't have the volunteers from overseas. They did everything that they could to take care of the people in the community. And often it was just consoling people at the end of life. And that was where I was supposed to be, because I left the first place thinking that, you know, it was a negative thing, ended up in the second place, and they welcomed me. And they actually had an echo machine, an ultrasound machine there, that they had never taken out of the box because they didn't know how to go about using it, and they didn't want to break it. And they thought that there was a story that there would be somebody who would come and show them how to use it, and that would be a change in their entire treatment pattern in the hospital. And when I showed up, my eyes lit up because I saw this piece of equipment. I could do echoes on kids and find out if they had heart problems in their community, which is where most of the disease is, in the more rural and poor communities there is where it is. And we started right in, and they just sucked it up like sponges. And they wanted to learn how to do it. And there's nothing magical about what cardiologists do, even though we'll tell you it is. You know, magic. Learning how to use an ultrasound machine can be very complicated with all the technology, but the basic things are very simple. You know, taking pictures of a heart and seeing if a valve is damaged or leaky. And so that's what we started doing. They picked it right up. And then the next thing is to go out to schools and do 500 kids in one day.
Ooh.
And set up teams, and they did that. And then we got portable echo machines, which were developed. And we go out in multiple teams, and we do thousands of kids. And that's the 3-week thing, is how do you do this in 3 weeks? And the thing about a country like Tanzania is you can go and you can work and you can feel good about it and you can learn a lot about the country. But if you really want to help the country, you leave something there. You
Incredible.
have to teach them something
Yes.
that they can do, you know, and they take it over. And they took over this program like it was wild. And we've done 20,000 kids now. And the other community, which is so much more affluent, and you know, safari guides and people that run large lodges and whatever, look down on this community. But now they wonder what's going on. How come they have such good medical care? And why are the doctors going crazy up to the schools? And now they want to learn how to do it too.
What role does faith have in the work you're doing?
I would love to travel the world, but I really only go to a few places. And the idea of that is that if you pick a place and you feel like you can help people there, then go back to it again and again.
And that's what
my
you've done.
advice, yeah, because you can do a limited amount in a limited amount of time. But if you keep going back each time, you learn something else, and then you know you're thinking that you're there all the time.
Travel to an incredible spot in the world.
Yeah.
What role does faith have in all of this, especially in the work that you're doing?
It's the idea that most people feel good about helping other people. Most people grow and flourish when they're helping other people, and they use their greatest enthusiasm in doing it, and it brings communities together everywhere. It's a universal thing. The people want to be good. They want to do good. And if you feel that also, you become a part of it. And if you fan that, it grows inside of you. You know, we were talking about doctors being burnt out the other day. And how do we prevent doctors, like me, had been in practice for 45 years, from getting burnt out after all this time not wanting to practice and doubting people's their sincerity and losing that idea of being a healer. And this is how you do it, is you get involved somewhere, you do something, you become part of a community that cares about each other, whatever your beliefs are. And you see that you have more in common with them than you think. And that makes you feel good about being on the planet. Makes me feel good about being on the planet.
And you are a supporter of holistic help as well.
According to people in my profession, I've gone way over the edge. But, I believe that these traditions are very important, like acupuncture, Reiki therapy, spirituality, energetics, and they can play an important role in bringing life back to medicine. Modern medicine. Modern medicine's wonderful, and we've done incredible things. But the traditions that have the spirit and the energy in them and the belief, really, they infuse them with this an important energy and intensity.
When you travel to a place like Tanzania and you get there and you are encountering people, many people navigating some of their worst days and moments in their lives, what is it that you say or do to encourage them and keep them lifted?
I check their blood pressure.
That's simple.
I did that in customs the last time, and I managed to get away. I do that in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. It's like you give them whatever it is that you have. If you have, I went to eat with a group of women in the Atlas Mountains when we were visiting Morocco, which is one of the other few places I've been to. And I didn't bring a gift. And I felt really bad. And then I thought, wow, I have my blood pressure cuff. And I offered to do blood pressures and pocket EKGs on them. And they lined up and they were so happy. And I was happy because I gave them back something for what they were doing.
Which is incredible. What's the message that you have for people who have lost faith, especially when you encounter patients who are fighting to survive?
Find something that you believe in, or something that represents helping other people, a foundation, a place, a children's home, a community, and become connected to people personally in that community, and see how they benefit from your help. And that will give you hope about the future, and their appreciation will make you feel better when you've lost someone or something sad happens to you. My foster child, the first one that I have, I started fostering her when she was 7 years old, and she's an incredible pistol. And she broke a wrist while I was back in the United States. And they put a cast on it, and that cast was too tight. They didn't check it, they didn't open it up, and she had permanent damage to her right arm. She wants to be a surgeon. And so, but she recovered from it, and she's still damaged. She still can't use that arm, but she believes she's still going to be a surgeon. And I believe that she will. And she's grown. Now she's 19 years old. She's graduating high school. She's going to go to medical school in Tanzania. I'm sure she's going to be a doctor. And that, along with things that my own children do, or when they recognize this feeling in me and they show it, that they received it from me, that they feel that way also. It just gives me hope in a really difficult world.
Giving back is so much more than giving back, because you're also receiving as well. And you describe that when you talk about giving, checking blood pressure and doing EKGs for a group of women when you forgot to bring a gift, and even more. Expand on that, about how not only are you giving, but you are also receiving.
If you continuously give whatever you can to a person. Maybe support, it may be your own talking about your own life, whatever it is. You wouldn't believe what effect that has on them. And if you see that person again, you may find out that something that you gave them or something that you did that seems so unimportant changed their lives, literally changed their lives. I have the joy of doing that because my patients keep coming back to me. And the things that they say to me about our interactions, it's, do you remember, after my dog died, that you cried with me in the office? Because I did do that. I do really feel close to dogs. Mm-hmm. But it passed. But that really stuck in, and it gave them hope. And they were able to deal with cancer or heart disease afterwards or something. That's the part of medicine that people in my age group can give to the younger doctors that AI will never really be able to do. But it's so important in being a doctor is if you feel connected to your doctor, if you feel that they understand how you feel, your feelings, and how you feel about being sick, then you open up to them, and you will you will almost certainly get better. You know, you may not cure your thing, you may not be cured, but you'll be able to figure out a strategy for dealing with things.
What's been the response from some of your peers? Because as you mentioned a few moments ago, especially when it comes to the holistic aspect of care, you feel like you've, some people may say you've gone off the deep end.
The carefully chosen doctors that I work with seem to feel good, and they feel that they give me positive feedback about it. They cover me when I go overseas, which is important, and they want to hear about everything when I come back. Many doctors, you know, express the wish to try to do this and become part of it, but never quite make it to doing it. But I think that everyone walks away thinking about, maybe I should do something like this. Maybe this will make a difference. And, you know, the hospital that we work at is getting closer. It's been 15 years now that I've been doing this and trying to get my hospital to connect to the hospital over there. And it's been a long, arduous course. But now they're getting closer, and more doctors are going over there and planning programs over there. And when they come back, they're just like, you know, you can tell that something happened to them. So it's sort of,
they're changed in some way, shape, or form.
Good things, and you really show that you're excited about them. People want to hear about it. People want to be part of it.
We want to hear about it.
Yeah.
We want to hear about it all.
I'm ready to come back and talk about it whenever you want me to.
Do you remember your very first trip, and how would you describe the evolution to now?
Oh my God. When I went there the first time, I just looked at my journal from the first trip this morning, because I go, it was with my daughter. I was like a kid. I didn't know what people meant when they were talking to me. I didn't interpret properly how people were reacting to my presence, and I didn't pick up on things like how appreciative people were that I come all the way from the United States just to see them and give them medical care. And you know, it's just unbelievable. And my daughter, every page had, my daughter's the best doctor in the world, because she is. She's a pediatrician. And she's just incredible. And that's how you can pass on something to the next generation if you have that energy. It
stands out in my mind. You said 20,000 children you helped in just 3 weeks.
Well, 20,000 altogether.
And you're one person
yeah.
over the course of this journey.
But 500 kids are getting treatment now for preventing episodes of rheumatic fever, rheumatic heart disease induced damage, and their hearts are healing. And we've graduated scores of kids now from the program after 3 to 5 years of treatment who are doing well. We keep following them.
Tell us the program that you work with, if you're able to share. What's that program, and how did you become involved?
Well, it's through a place called Majeno, M-A-J-E-N-G-O, which means to build in Swahili. Children's home, which began as an orphanage for kids with parents that couldn't take care of them, or kids that were abandoned by their parents, and evolved into a foundation that cares for the community and actually collaborates with the community in healthcare and education. They build libraries, schools, and they involved the Tanzanians in joint projects with Canadians and Americans in enlarging their community, enriching their community. And when I saw this, I thought, wow, this is the place to build this program, because this is exactly what it is. And so the screenings are done through the children's home with their staff, and reaching out to the local hospital, which we described as being a very sad place with very, very well-intentioned, enthusiastic doctors, incredible medical director who's a good friend now. And that's where we work from.
And you have worked with this program for about 15 years.
People ask me, what organization do you work for? What's the name? You know, is it Doctors Without Borders or whatever? And I go, no, I call it Doctors Without Filters, because it's just me. You know, and so it's just me, but it's me latching onto this community and saying, here are the things that we can do together.
Very incredible. So everybody that comes on The Good Word, folks who are familiar with our show and watch and listen, know what I'm about to ask you, but it's such an important part of the show, because it's something we can take with us until next time. I will ask you, what would you say is the good word?
The good word is empathy. Is when you see someone comes to you, someone's looking for help, or someone needs you, be sensitive to that. Think about yourself and how you would be if you were in the same situation, and express that to them, and see if you can find a way to join them, to be helpful to them, to make them feel that they're not alone. And you'll grow also, and you'll feel better. You'll both feel better together. Empathy.
And that's what you've really have spent your life's work doing the real work on the ground in Tanzania, helping so many people. What would you say is the big takeaway message?
Is that I always say goodbye to the group there, and they have wonderful parties, and we dance, and we're crazy, and I always say thank you. I really need to thank you because you give me the opportunity to help people. You give me the opportunity to channel that part of who I am and become a better person that way. And so I bring that back is when you do things like that, carry it like a flame, you know, to light up when things are dark. It makes you feel that there's hope and better, things will get better. And the most important thing is let your kids see you do that, and then do it with your kids.
And all it takes is one person. You are that person here today.
Thank you.
Dr. Reed Schneider, thank you so much for joining us on The Good Word. We are on demand on Fox Local Sundays at 10 a.m. and on Fox Soul Wednesdays and Sundays. Check your local listings. I'm Tisha Lewis. Thank you for watching The Good Word. Until next time.